75 years ago, cholesterol was a substance that very few people had even heard of. Now, every fourth grade schoolboy knows all about cholesterol. I'm Agatha Thrash, a staff physician from Uchee Pines Institute. There, we deal quite a lot with cholesterol and people who have lifestyle diseases. And we'd like to talk with you about cholesterol and some of the serious problems that we're seeing with it today. We really need to get tough with cholesterol, and we can. So we'll be talking about some of the ways in the next half an hour. So we hope you'll join us, won't you?
The following program presents principles designed to promote good health and is not intended to take the place of personalized professional care. The opinions and ideas expressed are those of the speaker. Viewers are encouraged to draw their own conclusions about the information presented. Welcome to Help Yourself to Health with Dr. Agatha Thrash of Uchee Pines Institute. And now, here's your host, Dr. Thrash.
A long time ago, we used to think of cholesterol as being something that those who were elderly had a problem with. We didn't think about it as a teenage problem. But today, we're seeing it more and more in teenagers. In fact, 1 out of every 6 teenagers has a problem with cholesterol. It's more serious than we might think. And so we need to start very early in life, teaching our young people how to eat and live and work and be regular in all their habits so that they can avoid the problem with cholesterol. Now, the average teenager today does a lot of fast food shopping and socializing with friends over some kind of very sweet and unhealthful drink. But it isn't necessary that teenagers have these sweet things, these very fatty things, because I know that teenagers can enjoy their food and their drinks without having all of these unhealthful things. And here is with me my granddaughter, who is a teenager. She makes some very nice things in her kitchen that are not unhealthful. And what are you going to do for us today? It looks like it's going to be something with orange.
Yes, I'm going to be making something that is similar to an orange Julius. All you have to use is 2 cups of your favorite soy milk, which I happen to be using Silk. Then we'll add 12 ounces of frozen orange juice concentrate. And approximately a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And about 12 ice cubes. And then you blend it until the ice is just a little bit chunky. I won't finish blending it, but this is somewhat what it would look like after it's finished.
Looks very appetizing. Does it taste good?
I hope so. It tastes good to me.
You mean it's sweet with just the orange juice, the soy milk, and the vanilla?
It is, although if you wish for it to be sweeter, you can put a little bit of stevia in it.
Oh, that would make it good for diabetics.
A little bit.
And for people who are
very
overweight.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It also comes in powder form.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, that's very good. And the stevia gives it a very sweet flavor without adding calories or without making it so that diabetics or teenagers who have a problem with overweight or with cholesterol would not be able to take. And so this is a very nice sweet drink that a person who is a teenager would certainly enjoy. Thank you, Melissa. Now, I'm very grateful that we don't have to be bound to one set of foods or one set of nutrients, but that many different kinds of nutrients, many different kinds of foods are present in what God has given us in nature, so that without any difficulty at all, we can be very well balanced in our nutrition. We can get everything that is needed from the foods that we have without using anything that's unhealthful. And the teenagers should learn how to prepare these very nice things, sweet drinks that are completely free from guilt, and also burgers and fries and hot dogs and whatever the young people eat nowadays. They can learn to make these very healthfully, and there are cookbooks everywhere that show young people how to do these things, and they're fun to make. They're very nice for a group of young people to make together. And Valerie Schreiber has some absolutely wonderful looking things here, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she has. This is Valerie Schreiber, who is one of my co-workers at Uchee Pines, a health educator, and one who is an excellent cook. So what have you today, Valerie?
Well, Dr. Agatha, I'm going to show moms how they can do a transition with their children, because most children's favorite dinner is hamburgers and French fries at the fast food store. And we want to encourage moms and young people not to have fast food for their children any longer, and there's a good way to do it, but you need to get your children involved. And one way to get your children involved, if you will look over here, you will see that I have taken burgers and I have bought cookie cutters. Now the cookie cutters look like this. You can get all sorts of cookie cutters. This is a clown, here's a heart, a frog, and if you look back down here on the plate, I took 2 burgers, made a snowman. I took a heart, a frog, and over here is a little group of balloons. I did that for the little tots that don't eat very much. You can make them like a little balloon. But the thing that I encourage you to do, moms, is to get these cookie cutters and get your children involved. If they get involved, they're going to eat it. And then again, icing them with mashed potatoes is so delicious that they will love them. Now over here, you will see that I have a dish with just the traditional looking burger on a plate with French fries, and so the bachelors can have this. They can learn how to make good burgers in place of hamburgers and the fast food stores, and they can have good French fries. Now I want to tell you how you can make these French fries that are not fried and deep fried in fat, is that you can go ahead and take your potatoes and you can cut them just real nice like this. You can wash them very good first, leave the skin on because there's a lot of nutrition there with the skin, and then all you have to do is in a bag you can mix yeast flakes, some salt, some paprika, some chicken seasoning, any flavor that you may like as a seasoning, and then you just take your French fries, let me see, like so, and you just put them in the bag like this, and you can zip it up. Let's get it here. And then just shake it. Just shake it like this. And then you can just pour these out on a pan, which I'll just pour them back here into this dish, and they're nice and seasoned. And you can put them right into your oven and bake them. In fact, we just had them for lunch, and they are delicious. Now, moms, you can make your children a very healthy meal without going to the fast food restaurant, because you can have a burger and French fries, and Dr. Agatha is going to bring in Melissa's drink. Instead of getting an unhealthy milkshake, you can now have an orange drink. And this isn't just for children, moms, it can be just for you, and you can learn how to make these things quickly. You can have all your seasonings put together for your French fries and in a little bag, so that when you come home you can just pull that bag out, put your French fries in, and put it in the oven. And the reason that I showed you over here how to decorate burgers for children is to get your children involved in this in the beginning. I know it looks like a lot of work, but let me tell you, when you get your children involved in doing this, it's so much fun for them that they're going to eat it. And so if they think they can do this every time they have burgers, they're going to be more than likely to eat them. They'll tell their friends about it, and the friends are going to want to come over, and everybody's going to have a good time. Eventually you can make more simpler things, but I'm encouraging you in the beginning, make it fun for your children. In fact, I have a lot of fun doing it, and so will you, Mom, when you get to do it. Thank you.
And of course, all this is guaranteed to have not one single molecule of cholesterol in it.
Absolutely.
And so your children are not going to be getting high cholesterol from this kind of food. Cholesterol is such a problem nowadays that we study all of the blood to see what other markers there are for coronary heart disease. Markers for coronary heart disease are generally falling in 3 categories right now. One is cholesterol, a second is triglycerides, and a third is homocysteine. Those 3. Now, just being added now, and maybe will come to be standard in the next few months or few years, is that of fibrinogen. Fibrinogen is also a marker, and I predict that it will become as commonly done for predicting heart disease as cholesterol now is. But probably, if you think about the fact that cholesterol is not present at all in any kind of vegetable food, it's only present in animal foods, and that animal food has to be taken in sufficient quantity so that it will raise the blood cholesterol. Now, there are some people whose cholesterol by family origin or heredity is going to be high. Now, these individuals, even on a totally vegetarian diet, will still have to be very careful not to overeat, not to eat too many times a day. The 2-meal plan for them is usually ideal. And so with this, even those who have an hereditary high cholesterol will find that they do very well. Exercise and sunshine are also important for the person who has an hereditary type of a high cholesterol. It's very important for them that they obey all of the 8 natural laws of health. Have fresh air. We found some people whose cholesterol will not come down unless they have fresh air in their bedrooms at night, and unless they learn to be relaxed and to exercise a lot and to be unstressed. Now, there are other factors that are involved in homocysteine that are not involved in cholesterol. Homocysteine also has some aspects of B6 and other things, but soy has a good effect on homocysteine, and soy also has a very good effect on cholesterol. Soy products of all kinds, and the more close to the bean itself that you get, the better it is from the standpoint of its benefit for the body. And so, Valerie, it looks as if you've got something else to show us.
Oh, I sure do, Dr.
That
Agatha.
looks delicious.
Yes.
And it's beautiful.
Now, what I've done here is another one of those fun things. And I do this, again, to help with the transition, especially those that maybe like fish. This is a mock salmon loaf. And if you look real close, you'll see it looks like a fish.
Oh, there's the tail over there.
Yeah, I've done it with lettuce.
There's his little head, and there's his gills.
And this is made from soybean. Now, you can do one of 2 ways. You can get soybean flour, and that's all I really have in this is soybean flour, ground up soybeans, and what you do is you soak your soybeans at night, and then you rinse them off in the morning, put them in the blender with seasoning that you want, and blend them up. And when you blend them up, they'll turn out and look just like this. And you can do so many things with ground up soy that it's just no end to the things that you can do and dishes that you can make with soy, like egg salad, scrambled eggs, deviled eggs, all kinds of loaves and burgers. And my burgers, I usually put ground up soy just like you've seen here. So in my little fish here is ground up soybeans, seasoning, tomato juice, and some soy flour, and I just blend it all together, put it in a mold, put it in the oven, and then take it out. And this makes it kind of fun. Even Dad, who's kind of resistant to this change in the home, when he sees this, he'll be so amused. And it does amuse you. He's going to take a bite of it instead of be angry. How can you be angry if this is sitting on the table? Not really, could you, Dr. Agatha?
No.
So,
in fact, even if I were resistant to changing from meat to a vegetarian diet, I think that with this, I would be willing to give it a whirl.
sure. And so I want to encourage you also, moms, you can make a real nice tartar sauce with this. Just get your favorite vegetarian cookbook, and there's many of them in the health food stores today, or you can even call Uchee Pines. We have a great selection there. You can take your favorite mayonnaise, and all you have to do is cut up sweet pickles in them, and you can have a delicious tartar sauce that you can put with your fish meal.
Sounds very good and very appetizing.
Delicious.
And also fun. These are fun things to do, and if you like to putter around in the kitchen, you can be very certain that you will enjoy doing these things. Now, some people will need more help than just the soy to bring the cholesterol down, and the exercise and the sunshine. They will need some other things as well. And I have asked John Champion to talk with you some about some studies that have been done. Many have been done in many parts of the world on a variety of things, but this time John Champion, who is my co-worker at Uchee Pines and in the administration there, and also a health educator, he will talk with you about a study done in Finland. John Champion.
Thank you. There's been two recent studies. One was done in Finland and one was done in Brooklyn, New York. It had to do with charcoal and it had to do with cholesterol, putting the two together. It's very interesting. The one in Finland states that in the Finnish study, 7 patients were given a 1/4 ounce of activated charcoal 3 times a day for 4 weeks. At the end of 4 weeks, their levels of cholesterol went down. The LDL went down 41% on average. Now, traditional drug therapy usually lowers LDL or low-density lipoprotein cholesterol only 16%. That's according to The Lancet, August 16, 1986, and Prevention Magazine, January 1987. The other study was done by the Sunny Health Science Center in Brooklyn, New York. Dr. Freeman had 6 patients take a little over 1 ounce of activated charcoal for 24 weeks. At the end of the trial period, cholesterol levels in this group fell 43%, and their triglycerides fell 76%. Now, that's also from Prevention Magazine, January 1987. Apparently, charcoal attracts and holds on to the cholesterol, taking it through the entire system without it getting into the bloodstream. At least a good percentage of it does that. It looks like this is a possible way to lower cholesterol on a regular basis.
Sounds good. Yes, and I like charcoal. That's another thing that reinforces my enjoyment of charcoal as a remedy. It's not only good on the surface, it's good internally, and it's good for the blood. It's a good blood cleanser. Now, we have talked about homocysteine to some degree, but I'd like to tell you that it's not usually included in a routine set of laboratory testing done for your annual physical. So you should request that of your physician. Unfortunately, it's still a little bit expensive, but I predict that as we get more and more people who want the homocysteine test, I predict that it will come down, the price will come down, and it will not be so expensive. Homocysteine is an altogether separate marker for heart disease than cholesterol is, and homocysteine also indicates your likelihood of getting cancer, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and a number of other problems in life that we have come to associate with a high homocysteine level. There are certain things that we know will be helpful in bringing the homocysteine level down and thereby reducing your probability of getting any one of these disorders that I've mentioned. One of those is vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is very important in helping make the change in the amino acids that that an improper change there makes homocysteine level go up. And so if you take B12, that will help with the homocysteine level. Folic acid will also help, and folic acid is present in greens and beans and whole grains, but folic acid may also need to be taken by supplement for those people who have a high homocysteine level. Vitamin B6 is also one of those things that we give by supplement to people who have a high homocysteine level. There are certain foods that are high in vitamin B6, and we want to discuss those with you now. And so I have Valerie here who is going to show you some of these foods that are high in vitamin B6. Valerie, what do you have?
Well, vitamin B6 happens to be one of my favorite vitamins to talk about simply because it's involved in more bodily functions than almost any other nutrient. It is involved in the physical as well as the mental. And let me just read you a few things that it does. It is involved in the production of hydrochloric acid, in the absorption of fats and proteins, in maintaining sodium and potassium balance. It promotes red blood cell formation. It is needed for normal brain function. It aids the absorption of vitamin B12. It aids the immune system functions. It aids in the ability of antibody production. B6 also plays a role in cancer immunity and aids in the prevention of atherosclerosis. So you can see these are just a few of the systems that B12 plays a major role in. And so therefore I want to show you just some of the foods that have rich sources of B12. And bananas right here have one of the richest sources of B12. Now let me tell you about bananas. When I was a little girl, I used to love bananas. And I used to dream I was up in a tree, in a banana tree, eating bananas. And so I must have needed a lot of B6 back then, I don't know. But I encourage you to feed your children bananas. Eat bananas. They're one of the richest sources of B6. Now, other sources of B6 are in potatoes, avocados are another very good source of B6, and good old tomato juice has plenty of B6 in it. Now, your cornflakes, whole grain cereals are fortified with B6. So are grains and seeds, which I have right here. Here's some good old sunflower seeds, and they are so delicious, and they're just filled with B6. We also have here a soy product, which is tofu, but it has a good amount of B6 in it as well. And there are many other vegetables like green beans and sweet potatoes that have a good amount of B6 in them. And I want to show you, we also have some herbal teas, believe it or not, that have a good source of B6 in them. And this is oat straw. Here is catnip, and this is very good for if you want to relax. Catnip is a good herb to help you relax your nervous system. So that's why B6 plays a role in that. Now we know why it helps so much. Alfalfa also has quite a bit of B6 in it. So if you're not eating vegetables and you want to be sure that you're getting some good amounts of B6, you can be drinking your herbal teas. So you'll be getting it whatever you're doing, whether you're drinking teas or eating your fruits and vegetables.
That sounds good. And not only is this nice to talk about, but it's also good to contemplate what nice things we have that are high in vitamin B6. And so we can see by these very simple things that we can learn what we can do that will reduce our likelihood of getting heart disease. Heart disease is not nice, and I'll show you why right here with these two specimens from my museum. These hearts, these are actual human hearts, and they have been treated in such a way that when I prepared them this way, the first thing was to fix them with formalin, then to replace the water little by little with a fat-soluble substance and eventually end up with paraffin. The whole process takes about 1 month. And for me, that was quite a long time to spend on these. Of course, I didn't have to do it full time, but I felt like one of the head shrinkers from some of these countries that shrink heads because the process is somewhat similar. Now, you will notice in this heart, this is the normal heart. That's the back that you've just been seeing, and this is the front. It's about the size of your loosely clenched fist, and it sets in the chest upside down so that the point goes down as you see here. Now, if you will notice carefully, you can see a thin line right down here representing the major coronary vessel, major coronary artery. Now I have here a heart of a man the very same age as the normal heart, but this heart is very abnormal. You'll be able to see immediately that the same artery that you could barely see is now very easily seen because it has so much calcium deposited in it. The calcium is deposited because of the fact that the artery got sick. And the fat that first deposited in the artery then drew the calcium to it, and then now we have a stiffened artery filled with material that makes it difficult for blood to go through. It also makes it so that the artery cannot make its normal pulsation, and that of course alters the blood pressure as well, makes the heart have to pump harder in order to get blood through this stiffened artery. Now some people feel, well, I will not be very disturbed about my hardened arteries because they have techniques now that they can go up and strip all this material that's on the inside of the artery. They can just strip that out, or they have certain bypass procedures that they can do. And so if my artery gets very badly damaged like this one is, and you can see the artery right here, this artery is very calcified, very small. This is the aorta, which should be almost twice that size. This is the lower end of the aorta, and what happened here was the same kind of calcium deposits following the fat, like cholesterol and triglycerides, that deposited in the aorta. Those then made the aorta itself so that it was non-functional. And so the surgeons went in and did a bypass for the man and gave him an aorta. They also replaced another artery, I think it was the renal artery, and made a nice new aorta for him with the tributary arteries. But unfortunately, it only functioned for about 18 months, and then it got a clot in it, as you can see here. You see this dark clot here inside of it, and that made it so that the artery was then non-functional, and when that happened, of course, the man lost his life. So that isn't the way to go, not with surgeries, not even with drugs that promise you that they will bring your cholesterol down. The very best that you could hope with a cholesterol-lowering drug is perhaps 15% reduction in your cholesterol, but you may need 50 or 60% reduction in your cholesterol. And of course, that could not be achieved with these artificial things. So the natural things, such as diet and exercise, and these things that God has provided for us in abundance, showing His great love for us and making it so that we are not just cast out here in the earth with a serious foe like Satan, without many tools that we can use to fight against Satan's sophistries. So may this be your experience. May God bless you.